This is Modern Day Times by Josh. Sex is something for people who have nothing. That is today's topic and episode, and let's get right down to it. To start off first, Gen Z is having less sex than previous generations. Studies reveal that overexposure to sexualized advertising and digital media creates feelings of inadequacy, unrealistic expectations, and, quote, sex fatigue, end quote. Consequently, nearly half of Gen Z adults report wanting less sexual contact on screen, and many prefer platonic friendships over romance. Did my research on Google by way of AI, and that is sourced through Newsweek, Guardian, and KQED Forum. To start off this topic, let's break that down. I am part of the Generation Z, New Millennium Baby 2000s, and a lot of sex has been seeping through the corners of the universe, the culture, the internet, and everyday life. I'm based out of Metro Atlanta, so there is literally some type of imagery of sex on every corner that you look, by way of strip clubs per se. And we are the internet generation. And on the internet, you see each and every day that there is more and more advertising of sex in media, in films, in TV shows, in art, music, and also just how we talk. Very explicit imagery where things that you say that you're not intending to be sexual can also be called into question as sexual by a dude from Harlem if you say something that could be taken as homophobic, and he says pause. So let's resume. This is what we're dealing with in modern day times. No pun intended. On to the next fact. Massive decline in sexual activity. The weekly sexual activity of the U.S. adults fell from 55% in 1990 to 37% by 2024, with Gen Z seeing the steepest decline. Nearly half of Gen Z adults, 48%, have never had sex with a partner. That is also sourced from Newsweek and Institute of Family Studies. I can definitely believe that. With today's economy right now, if you go out to eat, let's say me as a man of this generation wants to take somebody out on a date, a coffee date, it could literally cost $25. Now, if you're a single male living by yourself, that's probably half of your grocery bill, to be honest. If you're skipping breakfast and you're eating a lunch and a dinner for the week and you meal prep, you can definitely get below $75 easily if you're single living in America off of just a grocery bill, a weekly grocery bill, and make it work. It is very doable by way of Aldi's. Now, $25 to take a lady that's on a date that you may not even know very well. She could be a product of her environment where we see to now in the lady space that being, let's say, legacy marriage material. And when I say legacy marriage material, it's like, the 60s. Like, the first thing you should do is get married once you graduate college, lady. Today, that's not happening. It's like finances first over family. And you're taking ladies out on $25 dates, coffee dates, which is expensive. Coffee dates should be under $20 at least. For 2 lattes, should be like $6, right? But, she made like a muffin, a oatmeal cream pie. I love oatmeal cream pies from my local coffee shop. It is expensive though. But it's just harder for us to date right now. Also, back during that time, let's be honest, I feel like a lot of the sexual stats also take in marriage stats as well. Like, when you're married, you're having sex. When you're single, you have to, set up dates. You have to negotiate. It's a sales tactic just to get a girl to look you in the eyes sometimes. When you're married, it's easy. You just give your lady that look. You come home from a hard day. You let it out, all out in the bedroom. You can't do that in the streets. you have to go through a lot of trial and error, a lot of first interviews, second interviews, and a lot of days and dates. That's basically what dates are nowadays. They're just interviews. It's like, are you for the plot? Are you for the moment? Are you for the vibes? You know, the age-old saying of a lady can decide in a half a second if she's going to sleep with a man. It's like, yeah, if you walk into an interview or a quote-unquote date, a mission as a man with a lady for $25 worth of coffee at a coffee shop in 0.5 seconds, and she decides that you are not that guy, and I will not be taking off anything for you, not even my own makeup, then hey, what can you do? What can you do? Next, we have rejection of sex in media. According to a report by the Center of Scholars and Storytellers at UCLA, 48% of Gen Z feels that sexual content is not needed for the plot of most TV shows and movies. This is sourced by IndieWire from UCLA. So, recency bias. Let's go into it. You have Sex in the City. I recently just got charmed off my pants by Sarah Jessica Parker because she used narration throughout Sex in the City. I am a writer myself, and I love to communicate, and I will tie this all in with my point. You also have, as well, Euphoria, Season 3. Now, with Euphoria, I didn't watch Season 1 or Season 2, but Season 3 had a little bit of narration, and I loved it. If you have any type of narration in TV shows or movies, I'm going to watch it. House of Cards, the king of breaking fourth walls in narration. You also had Forrest Gump. He narrated throughout most of the movie. It really brought the story along. So in Season 3 of Euphoria, I had a little bit of narration from Rue. It really brought you in to a lot of people's perspectives and feelings at the time. And Sex in the City, come on, every episode was narrated by Sarah Jessica Parker. And at this time, and around this time, it made me very desensitized to seeing erotica on the screen. You know, I only watch Sex in the City if you know, my wife is watching it and like, okay, somebody's narrating, you got my attention. I turn, you know, the other cheek. I use that cold shoulder a lot when a sexual scene comes on, or 6-inch plastic mushroom shows up out of nowhere. It's not needed for me, but for the show, Sex and the City, it made a lot of sense. Some things are better shown than told. I like to say a lot, and Sex and the City definitely showed a lot of sex. With Euphoria, having seen Sydney Sweeney have all those scenes of her trying to become a 6 figures a month OnlyFans creator, it was inspirational to those that love sweet decadence of the highest order. It was not inspirational to me if I was trying to become a 1099 independent contractor through OnlyFans and, you know, get my pictures up and going and viral any and everywhere on the internet. It just wasn't needed to me. The storyline and the plot from, you know, high schoolers graduating in high school, and now some are drug dealers, some turn into online pimps, others are literally becoming drug mules. Crazy storytelling, but, you know, I could see how it definitely came with the times of Gen Z looking for online careers, which is very true. But is it needed? Is it helping the ecosystem, the conscious minds of the culture? Probably not. Now, let's go next to scrolling over sex. Research by self-growth app Rise Guide revealed that 39% of Gen Zers choose to browse social media rather than engage in sex, with 1 in 8 stating that scrolling is more pleasurable than sex. That's a very real thing, because everything happens to the phone and it's on the phone. Before the .com, right? Before the .com bubble in 2000s, that's actually when first Gen Zers started touching grass on this earth and taking their first breaths and steps. Everything was done on computer, through email. Now everything is done on Gmail, on an iPhone, or a Samsung. it makes a lot of sense because, as well, for us to be social, we have to use media, social media. For us to even connect and get a date, we have to use dating apps. We have to use Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. Just a lot of things and fillers and buffers and walls. We have to hop, skip, and a jump and, fill out applications online for to get a date. And it just makes it hard. So seeing this research by revealing that 39% of Gen Zers choose to browse social media rather than engage in sex or some type of expression in a sexual way, it's a very real thing. Very real thing. And then we have desire for monogamy. Despite popular hookup culture, 23% of Gen Z claims monogamy as their most preferred relationship style, nearly twice the rate of millennials, which is 16%, and boomers, 12%. It's kind of funny with millennials, because millennials they drink the most, so and they have a reason to drink because they got a horrible economy in 2008, and also too they had to deal with the new millennium economy with the .com bubble bursting, so they got a double whammy, like a overhand right and a upper hand cut to finish off that combo meal that the whole market gave them during that time. But boomers as well. Boomers, they literally got the best of the best, and they're spoiled. And some of them probably spoiled their marriages. And we're not the reasons why divorce rates are probably near 50%, because we don't have the financial backing to start families and be incentivized to even get married. So you can't blame Gen Z. And that also is probably another reason why Gen Z wants monogamy the most, because you want what you can't have. And we want monogamy. We want marriage. We want the white picket fence and the dog and 2 kids and maybe 2 cars in the suburbs that was marketed in the 50s and the 60s. But when that happened, that was when boomers were being born. My parents were born in the mid to early 50s, and they're first generation boomers or early stage boomers. So they definitely got to see the dream become folklore, become a wet dream, become a lucid dream, and then become even more of a reality. And now, if you speak to a boomer now, it could be becoming a nightmare. But they already lived the dream. It's becoming a nightmare for us. So, yeah, I think the boomers are just not happy because they're not getting their victory lap with their American dream ending how it's ending. Let's transition into the next topic. I wanted to dive a little bit more into Sex in the City and how it's a prophecy. If you ever get to watch it and get a lady, I don't know, watch what you want to watch. Some guys had a reason to watch Scandal with Kerry Washington. It's like, why would you watch Scandal? It's Kerry Washington. But my brother, his ex-girl, he watched all 7 seasons of Scandal. And, some guys make fun of him, but it's like, that's my girl. Like, I end up doing stuff that I probably wouldn't do on myself, but my girl introduced me to it. Did I like it? Who knows? But was it informative? Did I waste my time? Maybe not. So with Sex in the City, I actually got informed. And I wanted to share my experience watching this and how much this actually is a prophecy coming to fruition in 2030. So here's my notes. Sex in the City seemed to justify a lot of premature decision making and respecting the impulsive indulgence of any source of guilty pleasure that can be displayed on the screen. In the realm of show business, some things are better shown than told. The girls always meet at a new restaurant or go to a new cocktail hour or dinner party. This shit was a prophecy that is currently being fulfilled nationwide across America as we speak, and not just in NYC, in the early 2000s and late 90s. In modern day times, no pun intended. As a man, I'm not hating or criticizing the ladies for the decisions they make. They have financial stability and a group of friends rooting them on from afar. In the show, if you're lunching, then you're brunching. If you're brunching, then you're hunching. And you're doing something. Austin, Texas. If you go complete your weekly Saturday morning 10K with the gang and you end up at a brewery and you're not hunching after, You ain't doing something. Atlanta, if you're not drinking matcha infused Hennessy with lemon pepper on the rim at Cinnamon Toasted in the AM, then going on a date with an alpha or a noob from Marietta to go watch the World Cup at the Cosm, you're not hunching and you're not hunching after? You ain't doing nothing. And you ain't doing something. And please don't be the first to do both. Now imagine what I just said if I told that to the ladies in Sex in the City at like a round table. Just like, interviewing them actually in the show though. Let's like be theoretical here. Like I'm in the show, I'm like, I'm not really like I want marriage, but it's just like I'm not really pressed to get it. If you watch the show, a lot of the ladies don't start becoming pressed to get married and find stability until they reach their mid-30s. It starts off with them being in the early 30s. Three out of the 4 women. And this is a real thing. In the show, the ladies go to lunch a lot. They go out to brunch a lot. And they hunch a lot. Like, it really does live up to the name of the title of the show, Sex and the City. And me being in Atlanta, it's the perfect backdrop. It really is the perfect backdrop for why I saw a lot of similarities in that show up in NYC down here in Atlanta around the 2020s post-COVID. Because during that time too as well, Atlanta was open. It was wide open during the lockdown, and it was so affordable. You could go any and everywhere. We're having parties in the AM like we're partying in Las Vegas. Every pool was just still open. The overpriced luxury apartment complex was still open. It was still a great time to get a mortgage around 2021. But everywhere was just beautiful, peaceful. Even college kids, because you're online college, you could literally be by the poolside and get done with your work. AI wasn't really that big around that time, but get done with your work. Be hitting, I don't know, like some type of smoky compartment thingy-majig by the poolside, and literally be a couple hours away from partying and taking lemon drop shots. That was Atlanta for you, and it still is like that. But does this lead to something? Does it lead to anything? The question is, can more lust lead to more love? That's my observation from the show. Is that even the question, though? Lust first, then love? Let's see. Here's the research and here's the report. After this, hopefully, I'll still have your report. A study done by Morgan Stanley, yes, the investment bank trying to capitalize and commercialize women's behavior, says that 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 45 will be single. That is literally, if you're a 80s baby, like LeBron James generation of people, how LeBron acts. LeBron still acts like he just got out of college sometimes. Has a very colorful personality, great guy. He does not act his age. He does look his age, but he acts very youthful and very, high energy, which is good for him. If you're born in that time, the early 80s, and you're in your early 40s, and by the end of 2030, beginning of 2030, you'll be in your mid 40s, you could be single if you're a lady. If you are born in 2004, if you're born in 2004 or 2005, and you're finna be in your mid 20s, you're not a young woman no more, because to be considered young, I guess on paper, it's like from 18 to 25. Once you pass 25, you're not a young man no more. You're a man. You're not a young woman. You're a grown woman. Once you reach 25. So from 25 to 45 in 2030, 45%, that's almost half of women will be single. That is very real, based off the economy, how things are going, and the culture and the community. Let's dive into why that is going to be prophesized. First, we started off with Sex and the City prophesizing this happening down later, spreading throughout the world and the country by 2030. It started in NYC because it's so hard to date there. And let's see how It's becoming more and more inflated. Reasons why. Ladies are going to college at a higher rate and faster rate than men. This is confirmed by TopTierAdmissions.com. This is written by Emily Kaser, a senior counselor at TopTierAdmissions.com. What can this lead to? This can lead to a lot of men being trumped by hypergamy. Hypergamy, or marrying up, is a social term for the practice of marrying or forming a romantic relationship with a person of higher social, economic, or educational status than oneself. So, do we live in the 50s and 60s no more, ladies and gentlemen? Hell no. Are we still being marketed or told omens, word of advice, tidbits by our aunties, fathers, mothers, uncles, and grandparents that worked in the 50s, 60s, and 70s? Yeah. And around that time, men were still superior, or they could, be on top with their wallet, look down with their eyes because they had the better condo, lived a little bit higher. They were C-suite executives too. And also too, they had the education to back it up. Now that is dramatically changed in the mid 2020s. Ladies have way more of a pulling power. In a capitalistic society, certifications get you coins. And you don't got to check nobody's registration because they're certified. And I'm speaking about ladies. And they're definitely bringing the coins and putting it away. Let's go on to the next thing. Shame has exited stage left for trying to get married. In the present day time, it isn't shameful to be single and satisfied with being single. Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion were paid to promote Kamala Harris at presidential campaign events as an example of how shame has exited stage left. So we're seeing the merging of these two different archetypes of ladies or in womanhood, where you have two roads. You could go be a respectable, honorable lady, family oriented. You put we first over me, and you're in a respected profession that's seen with starry eyes by everybody. Being a lawyer, being a litigator, a prosecutor, also running for president or being a vice president. A lot of people will respect that. Now, you're starting to see compatibility between that lane starting to kind of merge and, being cahoots with the other lane of female superiority. Me over we first. Sexual expression and positivity comes first before, being reserved and modest. Almost like a wife in a way, but that's kind of like a 1960s, 50s wife. A lot of people like to say it's like, they're stay-at-home, modest type of wife and mother. And today's that's coming in question. Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, they're both very hardworking women, but they do put out a energy and a brand to people that can be in question. Like, if you ask married couples or fathers, and even some women, they'll say, would you want your daughter really looking up to Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion for the music that they put out and what they rap about and what they do on music video sets? No. Not shaking your rump and maybe trying to drug men in clubs to make a little bit extra money on the side and stuff like that and admitting to it. No. Or also putting your business out on Front Street when you're in a breakup. No. But hey. Let's dive a little bit deeper. Cardi and Meg are known as the biggest promoters of sexual satisfaction and female sexual expression over stable homes and marriages. They don't go out their way to put down marriages and stable homes, but their actions say otherwise. Their music and dating lives do affect young women. You're not giving kids an option to be inspired by. The last thing I would want my unborn daughter to do is decide out of desperation instead of inspiration. I would not want my daughter to see how the world is coming to right now, which is bad. It is very bad to make decisions out of desperation. I love to have great examples, not just my mom, but women in society and every day of like, yeah, I want to be like that, and I don't have to become a product of my environment because ladies did something that wasn't respectable to get into the positions they are in today. Because some of the things that Cardi B and Meg have done to get their fame notoriety has been questionable. Ladies, you should ask yourself, do you want to make decisions based off the roads they travel down? Do you want to reach those destinations by going in that direction? You can always go in a different direction and still reach better destinations. I know this age of men and all of us are not cut from the same cloth as some high achieving women, but I can't agree with the fact that some women are making decisions to be promiscuous instead of being in happy relationships, and they're doing this out of desperation. This can happen with impatience on waiting for Mr. Right, or you can just choose Mr. Right. You're still left with decisions, lady. If you want to say yes or no to a marriage, and also even create a home to have children, then ladies, that is your decision. You have the power. Like, what about Marley say? Like, no woman, no cry. Like yes, woman, yes, we all cry. It really, women decide a lot of things. The biggest barriers. I mean, as men, we cannot do it without ladies. And if a lot of ladies are staying to be single, that is not good. That is not good. And I will talk about how men have done their due, and we have to take accountability of what we've done. Yes, you can have it all, though, ladies. Yes, you can. But you cannot have it all at once. You can go through your phase of having fun, then have a time period of learning from your mistakes and getting your act together to become a great wife and mother to build a happy home. But don't think you have all the time in the world, because even your biological clock will tell you that. Even the sexual dating market will tell you that. Like, oh, now you want to be together. It's been 30 years, Jessica. We're 45. I had a crush on you when I was 15 in high school. Now you wanna? Yeah, no. The porch light is off. But Cardi and Meg had it all. They had relationships. They had finances. The other one they had as well is that Cardi had kids, and both of them ended up broken up, no man in the house, and still promoting single, satisfied, sassy lifestyles. And these ladies have it all. They have a staff. They have a staff. They have a team. They have the best picking of men that want, I won't even say the best picking of men, because just because you have money does not make you an honorable man, because all these people have money, but they can never stay together. So come on, guys. That's just a superficial statement too as well. I'm not driving that home. That thing is getting parked outside on the cul-de-sac. That is not coming into the driveway and onto the front door steps. Like, just because you have money and you have access and you have network still does not mean that you deserve to be blessed and anointed. You let too many people into that sanctuary. Like, no. And all these people have all this access, like Cardi B and Megan. So what? They couldn't get it done, and they had all the resources. They had the whole recipe, and still couldn't get it onto the table. Still couldn't bring it to the table. Now, I want to get into as well something that I wrote this week about the topic, sex is something to those who have nothing. It is an article that I wrote on Substack. You can go see it at ModernDayTimes. I wanted to share a piece of it with you guys to bring to the conversation. That's really, really, really important. Quote, sadly though, we're becoming products of our environments. Sex is the sell, but what we give our attention to is being sold to the highest bidder, and we don't even get a commission on that. In Metro Atlanta, sex is truly the sell. With Future, funny enough, dropping a tape on July 10th called, quote, The Real Me. We already know what this album could be about. Future is the biggest seller of sex that we have in music. Atlanta is the biggest market for OnlyFans, and we subscribe to OnlyFans the most out of any other city. We're also the strip club capital of the world. It doesn't make it any better that you can also get affordable, tasty food on certain days of the week at strip clubs, and also get dances that are way under $10 on certain days out the week at strip clubs, and also get dances and food that are affordable. That's why as well Euphoria Season 3 hits so hard, because Atlanta is known as a big human trafficking hub as well. For a city that doesn't even crack the top 10 list for big cities, population-wise, and size of the urban area inside the city limit, it's crazy that we're top 5 for some STDs that you can think of. Another fact too, we are number 1 in new HIV cases. So believe me, this topic of sex is something for those who have nothing. It truly does hit home for me. That is one of the biggest man problems we have today. Men choosing lust and pride over a humble, loving relationship. Men not having discernment, sexual patience, and sexual common sense. It's a disgrace. What's promoted on TikTok, like dating ads and softcore, erotica, or porn just for men. If you go on Facebook or Instagram, when something is posted for 5 seconds, there's a bot account that shows a woman's rear end that says, quote, am I cute? Or don't click on my profile. Can this be a correlation with men focusing on pleasure rather than their purpose? We all know who watches the most porn out of men or women. That's a rhetorical question. Like, who watches the most porn out of he or she? Come on, bro. We also know who watches the most sports out of men or women. While we're focused on food, sports, and sex, women are going after their purpose. Men, whatever you want to do, put your purpose over your pleasure. Because your pleasure leads to nothing. It truly does lead to nothing. Now, I wanted to talk to as well about the holistic side of this, just to sum up this topic, the good, the bad, and the ugly and the beautiful of this topic. Sex is something to those who have nothing. What I do think is good is that, ladies, this is your world. You know, this it's looking like it's being set up to be your world. It's everything is more fair now. By way of going through college, getting certifications, getting degrees, and also earning higher incomes and getting white collar jobs. Hell yes, that is actually a good and beautiful thing for ladies. For men, that is a good thing because that's competition. You know, this saying, it's like ladies always want to compete with men. Well, my brothers, we need companionship the most. I feel like a lot, the saying, it's like ladies need, friends, like we need companionships because, there is a male lonely epidemic. And I think it should be a positive. It's that you can look to your lady. It's like, yeah, you really are inspiration. And you don't make my life harder. Like, things are easier when, we're both mano y mano pushing each other to get a bigger piece of the pie, to bring, that chicken home for the little ones and for our pocketbooks. So I do think it's a good thing if it's all about perspective. Men, you can't cry about it because ain't nobody's going to save us. So It's good to have your wife be like, yeah, I could, bring home the bacon too sometimes and cook it. Maybe not hunt it as well as you, but you know, I could do it too. What is very bad about this? What's very bad about this is that everybody's becoming more lonely. Yes, ladies are way stronger, which is a good thing for them, but you know, it's like you're choosing, like I said before, me or we. Uh, a lot of ladies are choosing themselves. A lot of ladies are deciding to have kids later on, but the market is getting way worse, or it may not be as affordable. And two, it it's a gamble. You know, that could be that's way more of a bigger risk and gamble than sports betting. Talking about like something that's like very bad happening right now. Like I'm way more worried about ladies being more single in 2030 than sports betting. And men are doing that too, which is they're putting something that's pleasurable over their purpose. That is very bad. You can put that under there, but that's way more serious. Companionship and having a home life is way more important than any type of title, any type of coins you bring home, because you can't take it with you. Your memories stay with you forever. You can lose the millions, but you can't lose that mental image of the experience you had with your loved ones. Now let's get to the ugly. The ugly is the bigger picture. That is that we will be way more easier to control if we're not together in a home, marriage. Somebody's being leading or co-leading, eye to eye, mano a mano, team, we over me. If that is not happening, then we are way more easier to be influenced by. If you want to march and protest in the streets for politics, you're not on the same page because you're not complying with each other, you're not compatible with each other, and you're not community based. You're combative, you're complacent. That's what happens when you divide and you want to be single. So that is actually very ugly. It can get like that. It can get very ugly in 2030. This is 2026. That is a theory. Hopefully it doesn't happen where it gets to 45%. We can, back roll it a lot. But that's ugly as hell. Yeah, like 45% of y'all are single. Like if I watch, like I'm telling you, if you go watch Sex and the City, that is a prophecy that is coming way more real and real. It's very nasty, very nasty. The amount of times that Sam Jones was just on her back. Like I do not want that to be happening to ladies born in the 80s. No. Daughters just always on their back. Like yeah, but Sam would. That was cool, but we'll see how life is and home life is and community life is in 2030. Let's see if it's going to get better or worse. I'm not putting it on the ladies, but that should not be a standard in America, not me. And that is coming from a married man. I am married. The beautiful. The beautiful is the opportunity. We have seen the ugly. You've seen the bad, and you have seen the good. Now, it is up to us to decide how can we lead this into a more beautiful tomorrow. Like how low can we go? How low can we go? Unless everybody wants to start being Las Vegas and, start legalizing, gambling and prostitution and all this stuff. And like actually gambling inside, and this will really be Babylon. If we don't get to there and we can really start making progress, then this can start to become beautiful. This can be a way of life, a new culture, a new page that is turned. The opportunity. Because it's something, and something is always better than nothing. This is Josh. ModernDayTimes on Substack, on YouTube. Peace. First episode, pilot episode, up in the sky, ain't coming back down.